Human beings are often accustomed to regarding the sensory appearances before their eyes as absolute reality. However, in the view of ancient Greek philosopher Plato, philosophy begins with the questioning of everyday experience, starting with an arduous intellectual turn. In 399 BC, the Athenian court sentenced Socrates to death. This event revealed a cruel fact to Plato. Practical politics based on the opinions of the majority can slip away from good virtue. Therefore, Plato concluded that the physical world is full of contradictions and flaws and is thus unreliable. To seek the truth, Plato proposed his theory of forms. He divided the world into two entirely different dimensions. One is the visible world, which is the world of generation and destruction, or the one we see. And the other is the eternally unchanging, intelligible world. Plato pointed out that concrete objects in reality are merely poor copies of the forms. For instance, there are many beautiful and good things in the world, but above them exists unified beauty itself and goodness itself, which is in the absolute form. Sensory experience can only provide us with relative opinions about phenomena. Only pure reason can grasp absolute knowledge regarding the forms. At the apex of all forms is the supreme form of the good, which acts like the sun in the intelligible world and is the ultimate source of all truth and reality. However, since sensory experience cannot provide certain knowledge, how can humans in the mortal world acquire truth? Plato introduced the doctrine of knowledge as recollection. He posited that before entering the physical body, the soul had already beheld the perfect forms in a different realm. Therefore, the essence of learning is not the external installation of facts, but the use of reason to awaken the innate past life memories within the soul. In this process of recollection, Plato assigned a special philosophical significance to passion. He believed that when humans once again encounter beautiful or good things in the mortal world, a strong desire arises attempting to break free from the constraints of the flesh and return to the perfect source of the forms. This love and pursuit of absolute reality is the true Platonic love, or eros. Philosophy, in essence, is exactly this purest love for wisdom, which drives the soul to ascend from the love of beautiful forms to directly gazing at the absolute form itself. To further explain the internal mechanisms of the soul, Plato presented the vivid allegory of the chariot. He depicted the human soul as a chariot consisting of a charioteer and two horses. The charioteer represents reason, responsible for guiding the direction. A white horse represents spirit or passion, which is noble and obeys the commands of reason. The other horse is black and represents the desires of the body, which is usually unruly and blindly impulsive. The harmony of the soul lies in the rational charioteer's ability to effectively control these completely different drives, ensuring they do not deviate from the track of pursuing truth. Plato's political philosophy is built precisely upon this profound doctrine of the soul. In the Republic, he proposed that the structure of the city-state is isomorphic to the structure of the human soul. Since the soul possesses complex internal traits, the ideal city-state must correspondingly be composed of different classes. These include the rulers representing reason, the auxiliaries or soldiers representing passion, and the producers, which are the farmers and artisans, representing desire. Based on this, Plato provides an austere definition of justice. Justice is doing one's own work. Everyone must perform the one function in the state for which their nature is best suited without interfering with one another. When the producers are content with creating wealth, the soldiers fulfill their duty of defense, and the rulers use their wisdom to govern the city-state. Both the individual and the city-state collectively achieve a state of perfect justice. To ensure this justice, Plato even proposed radical institutional designs, abolishing private property and the family among the guardians, and implementing the communal sharing of women and children in order to completely eradicate selfish desires of the ruling class and make them share in each other's joys and sorrows. Furthermore, the state must invent a noble lie for the people, stating that when the gods created humans, they mixed gold, silver, and iron or bronze into the rulers, soldiers, and producers, respectively, thereby maintaining the strictness and stability of the social hierarchy. Plato summarized this grand philosophical system with the famous allegory of the cave. He compared people without philosophical enlightenment to prisoners chained in an underground cave. Their heads and necks have been bound since childhood, allowing them only to see the illusory shadows cast by firelight on the opposite wall, and concluding that these shadows are the real objects themselves. True education is a turning of the soul, guiding people's gaze away from the shifting shadows, leading them out of the cave, to ultimately recognize the form of the good. However, the allegory of the cave does not end in the sunlight. After the philosopher steps out of the underground and bathes in the light of truth, he faces a deeper dilemma. If he has already seen the true sun, should he remain in the upper realm, solitarily enjoying the tranquility of pure contemplation? Plato's answer is no. To prevent the truth from being buried by the blindness of the masses, the one who has seen the light must abandon personal comfort and return to that shadow-filled cave to rule the city-state. However, making a realistic world accustomed to darkness, accept the laws of reason, cannot rely solely on personal sacrifice. Rather, it requires fundamentally reshaping human political life. When the philosopher decides to bring the light of the forms back to the moral world, a new and grander inquiry unfolds. Who exactly should establish and rule a truly just city-state?